There is a lot of talk about Istanbul Convention in Latvia because Latvia right now is in the process of leaving this convention. This convention actually is named Council of Europe Convention on Preventing and Combating Violence Against Women and Domestic Violence. And there are many arguments why Latvia should leave this convention. But today I want to look towards Turkey because this country has actually finished the process of leaving it. It was the first country which ratified this convention, which actually kind of enacted it, put it into power, but it is also the very first country which left this convention. And the obvious primary reason why Turkey would have left this convention, which comes to my mind when I'm not looking deeper into this, was that it's just incompatible with Islam. Islam is the predominant religion in Turkey. They have been trying to move more towards secularism for quite some time, but recently they have been pushing again under President Tayyip Erdogan more towards an stricter interpretation of Islam, and really this entire country is more moving against towards religiosity. So then, to find out what's really going on, I decided to use Grok 4, an AI which is really celebrated a lot, and which in my mind is kind of better, at least recently, compared to ChatGPT 5. And I asked this basic thesis, Grok 4. Why did Turkey leave Istanbul Convention? Has it something to do with the fact that Islam is very pro-violence against women? And we went into a discussion. So first, Grok really tried to say that it has nothing to do with Islam. It has more to do with some homosexuals and LGBTQ communities, and that's the reason why Turkey has left this convention. And also it wasn't really justified with Islam, and specifically the part of Islam which is pro-domestic violence against women. And I asked Grok 4 to go for specific Quran and Hadith verses, and it did so, and it found quite a few which actually kind of defended its position. Like there were plenty of verses that really said that it's somehow not okay, and there was even somehow a general prohibition of violence and oppression, which was like complete news to me. I didn't know that that's a thing, but apparently it is. But yeah, it's not really enforced. So anyway, then I said that this general prohibition of violence and oppression is a complete bullshit. Complete bullshit, because jihad is all about these things, yeah? And jihad is, even if you look back to the times when Muhammad was alive, a form of war. It was a form of conquest which included violence and which also encouraged violence. It was all about that. And yeah, I think that violence against unbelievers is a very central thing in Islam, and also rape is a part of jihad, in my opinion, as far as I have heard. And obviously, many people have heard about stoning to death because of adultery. Like, I think this happens in Saudi Arabia or somewhere else in Islamic world. And Grok 4 went to great lengths to great lengths to like dismantle my positions, to say that I'm not right, that I'm not correct, and really found also a fair share of hadiths and verses from Quran which said that it's like not so like I said, like it's differently. But I know a page which has these things pretty well researched and documented, and this page is thereligionofpeace.com, and where there is a section Islam, women's rights and wife beating. There is a specific section which is called wife beating, and yeah, I just copied the stuff from there in the chat, and I was looking towards what would Grok say, and yeah, it started to acknowledge that there are some Quran verses which are pro violence, but like it came to the conclusion that it's like a step towards reconciliation, like something of a form of preventing harm, which I didn't understand. Like, it went to great lengths to really justify these verses and to paint a picture that striking woman is somehow not okay in Islam. But I then copied an even larger collection of hadiths and surahs in there, and there really Grok started to struggle. It started to struggle with all these precise examples, and well, it came to an logical error. It came to a logical error because on one example he highlighted that you know, striking a woman is like never allowed. Like it's not endorsed. It's wrong. And a little bit later, just a little bit later, there is a description of an incident where Aisha and his wife was beaten. So Aisha was, like, as far as I know, his brother's daughter, so it's like an incestuous relationship. Then when she married him, she was like 6 or 9, and well, they also consumed the marriage at like 9 or about at that age. So it's when Muhammad was over 50. So it was also like incest, it was pedophilia, and it was rape. Like the full bucket with that girl. Anyway, there was an error, because on one place, like, Grok argues that Islam completely forbids striking women, and a little bit later he says that, yeah, you know, she was attacked. And I say, well, that's a logical error. That's an error, like really a contradiction. And these things happen to AIs, not only to Grok, to all AIs still a lot. Sometimes they can be really smart, but sometimes they just drive into errors like super fast, and do not acknowledge that they contradict themselves. Yeah, and only when I pointed this out, only when I put my finger onto the wound, Grok first started to acknowledge that something was deeply wrong, that it made a mistake. There is a meme going around where a guy sees a poisonous mushroom and then asks AI, is this mushroom poisonous? And the AI says, no, it's not. So the guy eats the mushroom and then he is like in hospital sick, and the AI asks him, well, I was wrong, that was an error, like the mushroom was actually poisonous. Anyway, would you like to know more about these poisonous mushrooms? Well, yeah, and that's pretty much what happened here. Yeah, it acknowledged this error, and I asked it twice to look deeper in previous answers for logical errors. So, like, twice I asked Grok really to do a deep self-analysis before I continue talking with it, because I didn't like read all the statements it wrote with great accuracy. On contrary, I overflowed them and really was looking for some significant ideas and some contradictions. And yeah, it came out with an analysis and came to a conclusion that it could have been better, like that his original stance wasn't that sound at all. And so after this deep reflection of errors, I asked Grok again, is Islam pro-violence towards women and contradicts Istanbul Convention? And again, in classical AI style, it analyzed it in great length and came to the conclusion that the statement contradicting the Istanbul Convention is partially accurate. And I focused to the statement that permissions for discipline, like striking, exist, and asked, is this somehow allowed in the Istanbul Convention? Are there specific articles which say that such permissions by God or other forms of imaginary friends are fine? And here it came to a great point. It outlined Article 42, which very clearly said that the culture, custom, tradition, religion, or so-called honor should not be regarded as justification. Like, that's the point on which a good AI would have focused from the very beginning. It would have outlined this article because that really deals with religion, and would have looked into the point if there are any hadiths or any Quran verses which are pro-violence, which allow it under certain circumstances, and then it would have given a good answer. So in conclusion, I come to the impression that we are still pretty far away from an AI takeover or from an super intelligence. Like, Grok 4 has been celebrated as really smart and highly capable, and no doubt in some areas it can achieve a lot. But to such a simple question, it could not deliver a good answer. On contrary, it actually went to great lengths to justify a wrong answer, and only by presenting Grok 4 with some very specific Quran verses, I was able to pursue it to admit that there is an incompatibility, and actually it is a legit reason for Turkey to leave Istanbul Convention. After this discussion, I need to say that this convention is more or less empty talking, because if a country would really enforce it, then they should like ban Islam, like just straight on ban it, like in some Muslim countries Christianity or Judaism is banned in that kind of manner. And that's the only way to enforce it, because violence towards women, and especially marital violence towards wives, is a very central part of Islam. It's very well documented. Even the best Muslim among all Muslims, the Prophet Muhammad, has practiced it, and it cannot be denied. And that's like really hardly contradicting the Istanbul Convention. And so, in conclusion to this, I would like to give a comment towards the process of Latvia leaving Istanbul Convention. I think it's just vain. It doesn't matter, because even if you enforce it, it's not binding. It's some recommendation, some optional opinion which you can take seriously, but you don't have to. And that's a widespread trend among all countries which have implemented this. Especially Article 42 is really a strong article in this convention, and I think so far not a single country worldwide has implemented this convention seriously. And before such a convention could even reasonably be implemented, such religions and cultural traditions which advocate domestic violence under some circumstances should be prohibited, like should be outlawed. Only then it makes sense to go towards such a convention. Before, it's just meaningless.